This Social Security measure gives at least some protection.
For anybody to hand this out, we're asking for a chance to have the people who will receive the benefit to earn their way. The same principle established under the Social Security system in the 30s.
It is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights.
I know we can come together to face down the challenges of our own time.
We're back with the Democratic candidates for the New Hampshire House. Today we're talking to candidates from Ward 1. I'm Cindy Rosenwald, my co-host David Campbell.
How do you do?
With us today is Jan Schmidt, running for the New Hampshire House. Hi, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit, how long have you lived in New Hampshire?
Let's see, we moved to New Hampshire in 1977. Seems like only yesterday. I moved into Nashua just 15 years ago when I married Atlan Schmidt. I think everyone in Nashua knows Atlan Schmidt.
So you've decided to throw your hat in the ring and run for public office. Is this the first time you've ever done that?
I wouldn't even have thought of it if 2010 hadn't been so frightening to so many people that I've been speaking with. We saw a sea change. Mm-hmm. New Hampshire just turned around, or shut a door perhaps.
Right.
And it's hurt a lot of families. It's hurt a lot of my neighbors. And I think it's because we're not getting any response from the people who are supposed to be representing us. So that prompted me.
What are some of the issues that are important to you that you're concerned with?
Well, of course, the budget. The first thing that happened was the budget. And I'd say happened because I think that it was an attack on New Hampshire, on families, on children. It was just so surprising to see that kind of behavior from people who were representing us. And then we saw it locally this year, really surprised us. For instance, our local representatives are part of our county
Right, that's
government.
the secret that many people don't know, is that when you serve in the New Hampshire House, you also serve on the county budget. And so you get a vote up in Concord, but we also fund the county budget out of property taxes. So what have
Such
you
a
been
surprise.
hearing about
well,
that?
you know, my neighbors were saying this. I've talked to several who bring this up to me. I don't bring it to them. They'll say that Meals on Wheels has been cut. Meals on Wheels, a very good program for a lot of good people, for people who need that kind of attention. Stop in, check on their wellness, make sure they're eating. These are people who are alone and people who have served their community, who've lived here, who've paid taxes, who are part of us, and they're being left behind.
And they're also, we should point out, elderly and low income. So
Yes.
the fact that this community support is available to them can
Yes.
actually help keep them off of public assistance programs like Medicaid when they become really, really poor and out of nursing homes,
Yes.
which is a big hit on your property tax
So in essence, what this is penny wise and pound foolish, like so much of what we've seen this last 2 years. Taking this out, making people more dependent on the state, I can't imagine that that's what they had in mind.
Right, it's a real attack on the elderly, many of whom are actually quite vulnerable in their communities. They're managing to keep it together with supports like Meals on Wheels, but
And Meals on Wheels isn't just subsidized by the government. It's also has a lot of volunteers, volunteer drivers,
Yes.
and it's a lifeline for many of the people. It's their only contact with the outside world 5 days a
Right.
week.
so that's an important, how are you feeling, if the person delivering the meal notices maybe
But it's-
the client is a little different
Very
one day.
important.
They're another pair of eyes on an at-risk community resident.
Sure.
It's, as you point out, penny wise and pound foolish.
And a surprise that they would have done this.
And obviously, it's bothering the
A lot
residents
of
of
local
Ward
people,
1.
yes.
The low-income requirements, by the way, are $1,200 a month.
Right.
I mean, that's what you need to get full subsidy. And by the way, it wouldn't even increase property taxes had they maintained just the level of funding. It would have come out of, it was going to come out of surplus, so it wouldn't even affect people's property taxes. Government should be compassionate too, and I think that's one of the reasons that you say you're running, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
Well, thank you for coming down today. We've run out of time, but good luck to you.
Well, thank you very much for having me. This has been wonderful.
Thanks, Jan.
Great. This is the Democrats. I'm Cindy Rosenwald, my co-host.
I'm David Campbell, and we will look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you.